Alrighty. Hello, everyone. I hope we're all having a good offsite. So I don't want to talk for too long. I want to leave some time for questions, comments, concerns, etc. But fundamentally, what we've built is a standalone interface to the TAK ecosystem. But before I get into kind of what does it do, what are the mission use case, etc., I want to tell a little bit of story about myself. So for the last 5 years of my life, I've been running this team called Ascent Integrated Tech. The first 4 years of that, I was wasting $4 million in 4 years building something that didn't meet a mission need. Specifically, I was working on indoor tracking with firefighters. And while this fella, I thought it would be showing the presentation. There we go. While this fella up here has an awesome mustache, his helmet looks objectively dumb. So I built this system to where it would track firefighters indoors. We deployed a whole bunch, but they all came back covered in dust because of 3 simple truths. First, the hardware was too expensive at $10,000 projected manufacturing cost. It also had active sensors, like LiDAR, so it can never be used in the DoD environment. Most importantly, a human had to press a button to start the tracking process, which they never ever did. I needed to focus on the real mission need, which brings me to today. The mission need that I found out is there's a problem with TAK. We're all here because we love TAK. I'm actually considering getting a TAK tramp stamp tattoo myself because it's freaking cool, right? It's this expandable architecture. It was built 15, 20-ish years ago to stop fratricide. It's beautiful. Dots on a map. It just freaking works. It's robust. But wherever my phone is, that's odd, wherever my phone is, a map on a chest works fantastic for a team lead. And there's a lot of people that it works great for. But most people need to populate a map. They need to show a dot where they are. They need to call an alert if they have an issue. They need to drop a relevant point. They need a better human-machine interface to the beautiful, robust ecosystem that is TAK. So the reason why I told that story about me wasting $4 million in 4 years of my life is to reflect on design architecture. What I didn't build in at the time was a very robust design architecture that we have now with WEARTAK-Mil. When the watch is on, it connects to a TAKServer. In any way, shape, or form that it has internet and all the comms architecture in a little bit, it pops up. It is vital that all data from these watches populates across all of the TAK ecosystem. No plugins on any device or server, no plugins on any phone, no phone parity, no server modification, no non-TAK servers, and no data ever goes to non-government TAK servers. So, for example, here's WEARTAK-Mil data, including our physio data, showing up in Nate's baby, TAKX. The other thing is that WEARTAK has to be built to require no user interaction at all. So these are some joint jumps that I'll talk about at the end of the slide that we did. It took 2 minutes to train this Army jumper how to use WEARTAK. If we were to teach him how to use ATAK, it would have taken 2 days. But we spun him up in 2 minutes how to be a dot on a map and how to call for help when there was an issue. At the end of the day, WEARTAK pushes the data that it provides, where human, how human, call alerts, drop points, etc., to whatever tool that the mission needs. So whether it's TAKX or WinTAK or CloudTAK or WebTAK or DTAK or ATAK or ITAK, doesn't matter, it pushes. And I always have to come back to what does the user need the watch to do as a human-machine interface to TAK? And I have to translate those requests into operational capabilities. For example, I get asked all the time, hey, I want a map on the watch. People aren't really asking for a map on the watch. What they're asking for is I need to know how far away XYZ is and how do I get there? What's my range and bearing? Always have to take into account too, what is a watch task versus a phone task? If someone wants to look at a map, they have a fantastic device that usually sits here where they can look at a map on, but they don't need it. Because at the end of the day, a watch screen is tiny and one-handed, unless you're some kind of a mutant with 3 arms, WEARTAK is predominantly a passive system. It's a way for team members to take part in the TAK ecosystem and be monitored and protected without the full cognitive and cost load of a full ATAK end user device. So what does it do? I'm going to go into these a little bit more, but pass alerts, populate with physiology, drop points, and quick chat. So when an alert is triggered, and there's a variety of ways to trigger these alerts, you can press that big, beautiful red SOS button. If your heart rate spikes over threshold or some other stuff, then it'll be in an alerting state. Because that cot is in an alerting state, it populates across every single TAKServer, across every single TAK permutation. Like I said, TAKX, WinTAK, ATAK, doesn't matter. It can also be initiated by physiology or the watch wearer calling. Physio. Right now, we're collecting exertion, heart rate, and skin temp, and alerting based off of those. Those will populate. You all get tired of hearing me say this, whatever tool the mission needs at the end. So BatDoc, TMed, commercial plugins like Hail, or even just in the remarks, if like in CloudTAK, for example, there isn't a way to show that data. But what's important is the alerts will always show because they're built in COT and point dropping. So click the button on the right, you can drop a point. Those are NATO 2525D points, right? Your classic yellow quatrefoil, your rectangle or square, etc. You can also clear those points when needed. And after Red Queen integration, which I'll talk about in a little bit, you'll actually be able to dictate remarks on those points. So you can drop a point and then actually talk to the watch and tell it what you're observing at that point or what you're reporting. And quick chat. For now, you can actually receive quick chat on the watch. Sending is coming, and like many things with WEARTAK, it's going to be organized into that classic ATAK methodology, right? Where there's the quick chat on the bottom, and it has those pre-populated categories: Recon 1, Recon 2, Assault 1, Assault 2, with all the corresponding sub-messages. All right, so architecture of WEARTAK, everything cursor on target, always. Whether that's alerts and points, physio, position, location, information, where human, how human, when they drop points, when they call alerts, etc. And however it needs to get to the relevant TAKServer or multicast, if there's no TAKServer, or even over the fantastic Ditto Edge Sync tool there at the bottom, it'll populate across the TAK ecosystem. No plugins, no server mods, no server plugins, no device parity. It just works. Few upcoming features, Bloodhound, so range and bearing to target. Like I said, people ask for a map, but what they're really asking for is how do I get to X? So how we're building that is the team lead sends that point, that alert, that other team member, that COT event, using the built-in share functionality of TAK, which is present across every single TAK permutation, pops up on the watch on the quick chat window, and then user navs to it. Range and bearing pops up on the bottom, simple compass and distance. We're also integrating Red Queen, so you will be able to talk into the watch upon holding a wake word or wake button to save power. But after you drop a point or call an alert, you can dictate, or you can even just tell it to do those. And then finally, gunshot detection through the company that briefed yesterday and the ATAK-Mil thing. We're incorporating their gunshot detection. So bringing in these additional sensor nodes to the TAK ecosystem. So we've gotten a lot of funding for this. The reason why I have this, other than going, oh, look at me, is to also note that these are all driven by Air Force end user feature requests. Every single thing that we do and every single dollar of federal funding I've gotten to build this is based on things from the line feature, right? The things that they need. And everything current and everything ever will always be built with that WEARTAK architecture in mind of simplicity and robustness, no more than 2 minutes of training for any user to use. Right now, our currently active contracts are phase 2 to pass data into the Battlefield Awareness Trauma Distribution Observation Kit for physio findings, and then to pass data over MANET radios, think your TrellisWare, your L3 Harris, et cetera, as well as Link 16. And then we just got a TAKFi to scale this across a whole bunch of installations, CONUS and OCONUS, primarily for the Garrison mission set. I want to talk a little bit about some of the times where we've used it in 3 pretty cool events. So first, this was 3 separate joint jumps at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base with Army jumpers and DAF FES providing medical and overwatch. So we were looking at 2 things. We were looking at, could we track jumpers while they were in the air? And the other thing was the heart rate alerting. Because we're collecting heart rate, when it pops over 200 for more than 30 seconds, pops an alert. Again, pure COT, so it'll talk across any TAKServer, any TAK permutation. But a very interesting thing that happened was in the first one, a nighttime jump, one of the jumpers actually hit the tarmac instead of the grass. He fractured his skull. We were able to get him, well, not we, but people who actually know how to take care of people who are hurt, were able to get him out to definitive care in 15 minutes. Whereas something like that would typically take 25 minutes because it was night. And unless he was wearing a watch, they really wouldn't have been able to have a quick map where they can look down and say, hey, they got an issue. Second use case for using it is the SERE training over at Fairchild. So we're monitoring the health and location of the cohort because when they send people out to SERE school, right, they send them out into the wild, right? They send them where they are in danger of developing hypothermia, where they might not be as hydrated as they need to be, and where they are very fatigued. And finally, NATO Memorial Day Summit back in May at Wright-Pat. So this was really cool because it was a joint collaboration between Civ, DoD, and Fed. 26 teams, disparate teams, and they were monitored by 50 watches we provided, and it all passed back into that Air Force server. There were 12 incidences that actually happened off base, and these watches were able to help them provide, with additional clarity and task their resources more appropriately. There is on the left there, one of the Dayton PD wearing the watch and a super cute dog. So I just wanted to include that picture. So probably have questions. 2 questions I know that I'm gonna get. First, Samsung is cool, but can this work on a Garmin? 2 barriers to working on a Garmin. First, the Connect IQ program disallows it from talking to Doden. Second, is that the watches cannot be standalone. Samsung is the only smartwatch in the world which can actually function irrespective of a phone. While there may be other LTE-based smartwatches, there still has to be a 1-to-1 parity between phone and watch. The second, government rights. We're in the middle of transitioning this to government rights. Questions, comments, concerns, riddles?
I understand the drive for the standalone use case. Like it makes sense. Is there an option for, or coming in the future, for a paired functionality as well? So, as one of those guys who's frequently had the EUD on my chest, there are times I want the richer context and functionality of the EUD. There's times where I want that thing flipped up, and having that simplified functionality on the watch can be very useful for things like checking a chat message. Yeah. Or quickly hitting an SOS without having to drop my EUD down.
Absolutely, yes. So there will be a WEARTAK ATAK companion plugin. Try saying that 5 times fast. But there will be one because I absolutely do see that mission need of when you're getting close to a target and you want, not a map here because it's a tiny freaking screen, but when you want, a bloodhound there, or you want to quickly see TAK chat or quick dot point, whatever. There is a mission need for that. There will be a WEARTAK ATAK companion plugin. That is the biggest use case that I can see for it. I think there's some interesting, cool things we could do too, where we have, one sensor here and one sensor here on the watch, and it can compare those and find new insights. But yes, there will be. Okay. Today, no, but it is coming.
Good. Great, thank you.
So my other use case is that, so data is still coming as a COT message.
Yep.
But it could be a specialized COT message where COT types and COT types are like supposed on our phones, they are specially handled by plugins only. They are not one of those generic code types that ATAK can handle. So how can a watch, if the watch has to be standalone, no plugin code, how will it handle these kind of scenarios if this watch was supposed to be a no plugin code?
Yeah, fantastic question. So if we were sitting here having a conversation, I would say, hey, let me show you in this settings menu. But unless you are descended from an eagle, your eyes are probably not that good to see all the way up here. So there's a few other partners that we have integrated, their plugins that we've integrated. For example, Hail by Rain Technology Solutions. They provide a Physio dashboard. In WEARTAK, when you go into, you click the call sign, you scroll down. There's all kinds of settings and third-party like tie-ins, essentially. And that one, for example, for Hail, when you turn that on, you can configure the settings for Hail. What that also will do is populate in that specially tagged portion of the COT message for that specific plugin. Does that answer your question?
So let's say my code type is ABC, just for example's sake.
Mm-hmm.
So ABC is a code type which ATAK does not know how to handle. It's
Mm-hmm.
like some alien code type to ATAK whole system environment. To the watch, it's the same. So are you saying that I will drag it up and say that if ABC is coming, do this? That's what will tell the watch?
So if I understood the question correctly, it was, can it interface with other plugins?
Yeah, on ATAK, what we are doing is that if we're getting we are sending, our backend system is sending this cursor on target data through TAKServer, and ATAK, there's a plugin says if I get these UIDs and cursor on target code types certain, then don't handle it in a generic way.
Yep.
Ignore them and let plugin handle it. And then plugin says, do this and this with it.
Yep. So in the settings, and we have 3 or 4 different examples of this now, you would turn on the specific setting that relates to whatever specific plugin that it would interface with, and then it would modify the COT message in that way. My point with the whole no plugins, etc., is there will never be a situation where WEARTAK will have to have a plugin to do its base job. It can be modified and change that COT message if the other plugin is present, if that's enabled in the settings.
So the way we are trying to promote this is as this WEARTAK is that you get what it is and you use it as is. No mods needed, no mods provided to the VROS. So basically, like in ATAK, right? When we get the ATAK, we get we have the freedom to develop a plugin.
Correct.
And
it can interface with any plugin if needed,
right,
but it is not relying on that for the existence.
If something is not given in there, we can do it.
Yes.
So with the WEARTAK, since there's no plugin architecture, so it would be more or less promoted like this is WEARTAK, use it, and there might be some configurations you can do, but it is like kind of uses as is, right? That will be the theory behind it. The no changes intended. Okay.
Yes, correct.
And do we have actually the demo coming up on the WEARTAK at some point?
I mean, you can come over there and I'll demo for you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey, just a quick question. How long is the battery runtime with and without a phone while active use?
Yeah, so there is no way currently to interface with a phone. Like I said, a WEARTAK ATAK companion plugin is coming. So if you set this to 60 seconds as your reporting rate, so for example, right, you could set it to 60 seconds reporting rate. And then if it's an alerting state, whether that's user-initiated alert or heart rate-initiated alert or the gunshot detection-initiated alert, like I mentioned, is coming. If it's in an alerting state, then it would be 1 second, 5 seconds, whatever. But if you have it at your default 60-second reporting, then on an Ultra, you'll get about 12 hours. Cool. Thanks, y'all. If you want to see it, I'll be next door.